What's up, gamers? I'm Composer.
And I'm OddKara.
And we're happy to announce the first full release of our practice codes for Spyro 1.
These codes are designed to help streamline the experience for speedrunners to practice the game, whether it's tricks, small sections, or ILs.
They also provide quite a few quality of life features just to speed up some of the downtime.
Let's get right into the list of features.
By opening the inventory menu with the select button, you're presented with a level select. You can immediately start the fly-in for any level by hitting the shoulder button that is displayed next to the level name. Even the levels that aren't visible are able to be teleported to.
By hitting L1, R1, and triangle buttons together, you will immediately get sent back to the fly-in animation for the current level that you're in. It is also sped up significantly from a normal mode. This is very useful for practicing levels on loop, especially when the fly-in animation is important for global level cycles.
By hitting L1, R1, and circle together, you will immediately respawn Spyro at the start of the level. This can be nice if the level you're practicing doesn't have global level cycles. This feature, however, pairs really well with the next one.
So, unfortunately, because of the limitations of actual hardware, full save states aren't possible. However, we do have partial save states. By hitting L3 to save and R3 to load, you can save and reload most of Spyro's data, like his position, camera, angle, etc. You can easily use this to practice jumps and other tricks on their own. However, you might be wondering, how do I practice tricks with enemies if they don't get saved?
If you save a position before a trick that requires some kind of enemy, then respawn Spyro with the previously mentioned L1, R1 circle, you can then quickly reload Spyro's position back to the spot before the enemy, and they will be back in place. This makes practicing vortex tricks very quick and fun, as well as refining small sections.
By pressing all of the shoulder buttons and X, you can send Spyro all the way up to the moon. By pressing L2, R2, and triangle, you'll be presented with our custom menu you can use to select certain practice options. Let's go through all of them.
This timer setting displays an on-screen timer that resets upon loading Spyro and stops upon pausing. You can use this for timing movements, routes, or anything else in-game very easily. The timer has 3 settings. Timer off, which is the default, which will be there's no in-game timer. Timer only stopped mode, which displays the timer on screen only when you pause to stop the timer. And this is used to reduce minor lag that could be used from the extra rendering from the text on screen. And timer always mode, which displays the timer on screen at all times. We personally recommend using timer only stopped mode. Every time you hit R3 to reload Spyro, the timer will reset, and every time you hit pause, it will stop. This makes it very easy to time things from a consistent spot.
The IL mode lets you practice and time individual level runs for most categories. We're also happy to announce a spreadsheet to pair with this feature. More on that in a second.
Once you turn on IL mode, anytime you enter or refly into a level, a timer will keep track of your time starting the first frame the HUD starts coming down from the fly-in. Then, once you leave through a vortex or through the pause menu, it will then stop the first frame the HUD for the returning home text comes down in the loading screen.
The loading screen will then display your individual level time in big text, and underneath the display has the loadless version of the time, which accounts for dragons in categories where you're collecting dragons. What this means is that you can submit your time to our IL spreadsheet using our mod very easily just by simply playing and taking note of your final time.
Or you can play on an original disc and time it manually based on those visual cues we mentioned earlier.
First frame of the HUD coming down during fly-in for the start, and the first frame of the HUD coming down during exit for the end. The in-game time the mod shows should align within 1 frame of accuracy for timing manually through something like YouTube Frame Timer. It will also reload you back into the same level to let you practice the level on loop easily.
The Reset Collectibles setting resets all collectibles anytime you reload the level through flying in, reflying in, or respawning Spyro. It is on by default as it's the assumed behavior. However, it could be turned off if you want to practice homeworld or longer segments while maintaining what you've collected for a period of time.
The Sparks mode setting gives you a few modifiers that you can apply to Sparks. Perma Sparks on keeps Sparks Gold all the time and your health will never deplete. Sparksless on keeps Sparks dead at all times, allowing for Sparksless practice if for some reason you want to run Sparksless categories.
The Quick Goop setting is a small quality of life feature that kills Spyro and Goop the moment you can't input anymore. This just reduces the amount of time you have to wait for while you're dying in Goop. The BG option lets you select the pause or inventory menu color from a range of pre-selected options.
Nestor is now always skippable like any other dragon, allows for faster Nestor skip practice. You're welcome, Laura. Or, sorry for making you do this?
These codes have been a long time in the making, and we're super happy to finally release the first version. To download them, check the description in this video where you can find a link to download the appropriate version of the practice codes for your console or emulator. If you plan on playing on PS2 with a burned disc, please be sure to download the PS2 version, as it's the only version that works on PS2. Happy practicing, gamers!